Carlos, obviously not your first spring training, but first in this capacity, just how does the preparation, what your job entails, differ this year versus the other years that you've been a coach?
Yeah, a lot different, obviously. Making sure I get to know a lot of the people, that work in the organization, not only from, the front office side, player development, but the players as well. It's been 3 months, and now we get to this day and seeing a lot of people face to face. It's a lot different with a lot of the conversations. When in the past I'm just more like practice planning and all that, but now it's more like leadership. Getting to know coaches, getting to know players, the organization, and how we're going to attack spring training and the season moving forward. So obviously a lot different, but fun at the same time.
What does a successful spring look like to you?
For me, it's health, obviously, right? You wanna break camp with a lot of you guys healthy, right? But just creating the connections in that locker room, getting to know a lot of the new faces, especially for me as the manager, but some of the coaches, some of the people in the front office that are new, and some of the new faces that we brought to be a part of this team. I think just creating that connection, building those relationships, so we could start trusting each other, and that's how I see it. But at the end of the day, it's each guy getting ready individually for their season, um, but health obviously is in creating that connection.
You said it's been 3 months. Does it feel any more real now than it did at the start?
Yes, for sure. And it's exciting because to be able to put in a big league uniform as a manager for the first time and to do it for this organization, for the New York Mets, is such an honor and a privilege. And I'm really, really excited. It was long 3 months, but now day one and seeing some of the faces is really, really exciting. So, yeah.
What do you hope to learn over these next 6 or 7 weeks?
Yeah, I learn a lot from the organization, we got everybody here in camp, players, the way we do things, the way we prepare, and just the connections too, I need to learn the players. I need to learn my coaching staff. I need to learn some of the things that we're going to be doing each and every day, to prepare to win baseball games. So every day I feel like we are all learning about each other, about our process, and about the players. So I'm excited about that.
And what do you want players to learn about you?
That I care about relationship, that I care about the connections that we create in that locker room, that we stay tight together as a group, and that we have fun. This is a hard game, and we all know that. But at the end of the day, I want those guys to know that I'm all about, preparation, attention to details, but having fun at the same time while we're doing it.
Hey, Carlos. Yesterday, David touched on a few spots where he thought there could be some competition for areas where it's DH, bullpen, third base. Just curious what your outlook was on those spots. What do you see there?
I've been pretty consistent with competition bring the best out of people, right? And feel like the last couple of spots out of the bullpen, and we got a lot of depth. We got some good options, and hopefully they're healthy, they're throwing the ball well, and they're making those conversations and those decisions really, really hard, especially towards the end of camp, right? Same way with some of the younger players. We talk about third base, but we feel good with what we got going in, right? And then whether it's that last roster spot out of the bench, whether it's a platoon player, there's definitely going to be some competition, and it's a healthy competition, and it's always fun to have some of this. And again, we're a long ways away from that. We're still a few weeks away, and hopefully they make it tough on us, to make those decisions.
Carlos, coming over from the Yankees, you're in a spot that we've asked other guys that have done that, Willie Randolph, Buck Showalter. This is really going to be your first chance to put your imprint on these players in the spring. What are you going to try to make this team be like? What's a Carlos Mendoza team going to look like? And coming from the Yankees, which was a big part of your upbringing there.
A team that's going to be prepared, the attention to details, the way we play fundamental baseball is, that's going to be one of the three key areas, that we got to do everything that we can every day to prepare to win a baseball game, sticking to our process, um, and respecting each other. Obviously that product on the field, the fan base expect a lot of us, right? And but from my end, like you say, coming from the Yankees, and those names that you mentioned is details, preparation, fundamentals, and again having fun doing it. So. Well, I wouldn't say it's one of the hardest things. I mean, I think it's a day-to-day type deal where, again, they got to get, as much as I need to get to know them, they got to get to know who Carlos Mendoza is, right? And, my personality, how I'm going to be handling certain situations and how I want the guys to prepare. Um, so, yeah, I think it's one of those that I need to learn as much as possible. They need to learn who I am. And same thing with the coaches. We got a lot of new faces in the coaching staff, and they need to create that connection right away.
Specifically on third base, how much run do you expect Vientos to get there this spring? And bigger picture, where do you just see him kind of fitting in defensively versus DH versus whatever?
Look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if he's in the lineup, that means he's playing well, right? And that means whether it's a third, first base, DH, and um, it'll play itself out, right? Hopefully, like I said, we're having those discussions at the end of camp. That means they're not only healthy, but they're having great camps, and they're making it tough on us. But yeah, with Vientos, with Beatty, with all of them, Wendell, there's a lot of guys there. But specifically with Vientos, he's, whether it's third base, whether it's first base, there's going to be progression. There's going to be a plan in place there for him, making sure they are both getting reps, in games. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Carlos, Mets fans are dying to win. Do you share their passion?
Of course, I know what I signed up for. I've been in New York for the past 6 years, and I know the expectations here, and it's not different, right? They're dying. We want to win as much as they want to, but we understand. We're building that foundation starting today, and that's going to be the message. We're not winning a championship on day one, and we got to make sure we prepare. We got to make sure we build those relationships, and then we start connecting. But yeah, understanding that there's high expectations here in New York, and they want to win, and we want to win as well.
Yes. Every team has strengths and weaknesses. What do you see as the biggest strength and the biggest weakness of this team?
I would say, the depth. I feel like David in the front office did a really good job of bringing a lot of different pieces to the roster. And we really feel good about our depth, whether it's from the position player side, from the pitching side. The weakness, that's a good one, because I really feel good about it. I feel good about the talent that we got in that room. We got some established players, and we got some young players that are knocking at the door, and we're excited to watch them play and perform.
Given that players are trickling in already, tomorrow's the first pitchers and catchers workout. The other hitters will be coming in the next few days. At what point do you address the team and give that speech?
Yeah, so tomorrow will be a short one to the pitchers and catchers, but the big one will be on Monday. Once the position players report here, that's going to be the biggest meeting there when everybody gets in here and get everybody in the room.
And who's your center fielder?
Who's my center fielder? We got good options, We got good options. And look, we brought Bader in here, obviously, but we also got Brandon Nemo, and from the beginning, we've been having those conversations with Brandon, and he's been very, very open about it. And we all know Brandon, this is a guy that wants to win, and he will do everything he can possibly do to help this team win a game, whether that's in left, whether that's in center. We got Tyrone Taylor as well. So the good thing is we got options, and it's up to me, the coaching staff, putting together a plan and talking to the players as well, to make sure we're putting them in a position to have success. And, whether it's Bader playing center, whether it's Nemo playing center, or Taylor playing center. So, again, I'm going to go back to, we got good options there.
When it comes to the rotation, what do you make of guys, of the competition for sort of the like 5, 6, either you have guys like McGill and Lucchese we saw a little bit of last year. What do you think you need to see from them?
To be themselves, it's not a secret that to get to 162 plus, we're going to need more than 5, right? And the fact that we got a lot of options you mentioned those two, they're going to play a big role for us. They're going to pitch meaningful games. They're going to give us meaningful innings. And I feel like, the way we're going to approach is everybody's getting ready for opening day, right? Hopefully, I'm going to go back to health again, right? Hopefully, we're having those conversations that everybody's healthy and they're throwing the ball well and they're making it tough on us. But we're not going to, we're going to need we're going to need all of them. So the good thing is we got options.
David touched on yesterday, excuse me, the possibility you're gonna need a 6-man rotation at some point. How do you kind of see that playing out a little bit?
Yeah, it'll play itself out. Early on, we got few off days that will allow us to get that extra rest for, hopefully, everybody's healthy, right? But it depends, there's a lot of things to consider here, and where you are on the schedule, health is obviously important, but getting to know the players and who needs that extra day, who doesn't. I think is, us learning the players. I'm going to rely a lot on Hef and our medical and training staff to make those decisions. But yeah, that's I think at some point we'll be very open and very flexible about that.
And Nimmo, if he's not playing center field, if he's the primary left fielder, would you want to leave him in one spot, or would you want him to potentially bounce back and forth between 2 spots?
Yeah, and that was one of the things that, when we first started talking about this, back in November, that came up, and again, he's willing to do whatever it takes. The biggest thing is our communication here and making sure that, he's preparing and we're putting him in a position where he's going to be the best version of Brandon Nimmo, whether that's in left field or in center field, but making sure that that communication is clear and, he's going to be a part of that conversation, So, yeah, I could see him playing both. I could see him staying in left sometimes. There's a lot that goes into this decision here, whether it's matchup based, off days, health, all that is comes into play when it comes down to right on lineup.
So yesterday, David mentioned that the Mets were a championship caliber team. Do you agree? And if so, what makes this team championship caliber?
We got a lot of talent in this room. We are excited about the players that we got. Not only the established players that been here and had success, but the younger players as well. We got a lot of depth. And yeah, I mean, look, it's New York, right? And every time you're in the arena and you're competing, you want to win. And understanding that, we got work to do. But that's our goal, and those are our expectations. But we really feel good about our group, our team, and there's a lot of talent, and they're hungry. They're hungry. So.
How do you anticipate handling the workload of Edwin Diaz after the injury last season?
Yeah, he's doing great to begin with. He's got a smile on his face, and he's finishing his rehab program, and he's going to be one of those with. Let's get through spring training. Let's get to the regular season, and we'll have those conversations. But we got to be mindful of where he's at physically. How is he responding after each outing? We got to get step one first. We got to get him in games. He's probably going to be doing a lot of the backfield work first. Then we got to get him on the main stadium. And once we get to opening day and we get the season going, like the back-to-backs and how many days are we comfortable or using him. But this is going to be a conversation with not only Edwin, Hef, but the medical and training staff to help us guide us make that decision.